From KPFK in Los Angeles, California, Valley Free Radio in Florence, Massachusetts, WNUC in Detroit, and BikeTalk.org worldwide, this is Bike Talk.
Bike Talk.
Welcome to Bike Talk. I'm Taylor Nichols.
And I'm Lindsay Sturman.
Where's Nick?
Nick's taking a well-deserved vacation. Has he ever taken a vacation?
I don't think he's taken a vacation in like 15 years. So this is 1 week off and he's making the most of it.
He's a true believer.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. You haven't been on in a while. What's going on in the Lindsay Sturman LCI Livable Communities Initiative world?
Yeah, I've been hard at work. I basically do this all the time. I love it. And it's good. We got all of Larchmont. I actually live in Larchmont, and my neighbors came to me.
Which is a neighborhood of Los Angeles, let me say.
Yes, it's a very walkable neighborhood. It's sort of in Hollywood. We can see the Hollywood sign. And my neighbors came to me and said, we really want to build housing in the neighborhood. And so we put a plan together and we had all these people send in images of how they wanted to see the street.
Well, hold it. So let's go back for a second. Neighbors came to you and said, we want to build housing. Isn't that like crazy? Because neighbors never say that, it seems like.
And then one leading activist in the neighborhood, he got every single group, the businesses, the parcel owners, which are known as the BID in California and Los Angeles. He got the homeowners associations and the residents associations. Basically, every group in the neighborhood has come out for us. And we're sort of now trying to nudge, the elected officials to take action. Because, it's not easy to change housing laws, but we're hopeful.
Yeah, zoning laws. Right. And it really does have to be grassroots, bottom up, I think.
In a weird way, I think we're almost unique in that we're not just a YIMBY group, right? We're kind of like a neighbor group. We're just the neighborhood. And it turns out that, most people want housing. They want it to be really beautiful. They want it to be really high quality. They want, they're partial to things like they want family size units. So they want it to be under 5 stories. That is one thing, but we've really figured out a model that can work. So it works for the neighbors and it can build a really beautiful street. So
that's great.
And
we know how bikes fit into that. When you have a 15-minute city, a livable community, you can get off the bus or one day the subway. We're going to talk about the D line in Los Angeles in just a second. But when you get off that kind of mass transit, or when you just go from where you live to the grocery store, you can do those kinds of things on your bike.
Well, that's the idea, is that creating a walkable street is kind of the gateway to a bikeable street, because once you slow the cars, you're halfway there. And the beautiful thing about a 15-minute neighborhood is adding the housing with ground floor retail actually creates the walkability. Housing creating mobility. So we feel like we're kind of onto something.
Well, let's jump off that topic and let's jump on to the real world topic of the D line, which is the new subway line in Los Angeles. Joe Linton is here from Streets Blog LA. He's the editor and been on the show many times, and a FOS, a friend of the show. Joe, tell us a little bit about the D-Line. What's going on in Los Angeles? Are we going to be a mass transit capital of the world one day?
We've got a long way to go to be a capital of the world, but I think the D-Line represents a potential tipping point for transit in LA. So the Metro opened 4 new miles of heavy rail, subway, 3 new stations. It's the first time the Metro Rail has gone to Beverly Hills. It also serves the County Art Museum, and it's underneath a street called Wilshire, which is sort of if you look at a map of Southern California and where the jobs are and where the population are, if you go, a couple miles north and south of Wilshire, you've got a high concentration of jobs and housing. So this is really a transit project that's located where transit should be located. A lot of times politically it gets Metro build stuff out in the less populated suburbs, and I use it to get there, but it doesn't attract huge ridership. And the D-Line's really the spine of Los Angeles.
Well, Lindsay was talking a second ago about YIMBYs, yes, in my backyard. But I recall there being a lot of NIMBYs fighting the D-Line for a long time.
Yeah, there were some supporters in Beverly Hills, but the city and the Beverly Hills School District both repeatedly took Metro to court to fight the train from ever arriving there.
Right.
The city spent reportedly around $25 million on lawsuits against the D line and ultimately lost. And we just opened the first phase of 3 phases, and ultimately the project gets to Westwood and includes 2 stations in Beverly Hills. The concern that Beverly Hills folks raised was that tunneling under the city was going to hit abandoned oil wells and was going to explode and take out Beverly Hills High School. And so the tunnels are all done and nobody exploded, and the D-line train is faster than anything other than perhaps a helicopter in Los Angeles. You can get from downtown LA to Beverly Hills in 20 minutes. You can't do that in a car in the middle of the night. If you get lucky on all the lights, it'll take you 30 or 40 minutes. I think they'll get a lot of ridership, and even more as it gets extended further west to Westwood.
Well, aren't you going to test that theory that the D line is faster than driving or biking soon on Streets
That's
Blog?
right. Streets Blog is putting the D line to the test. May 19th, Streets Blog is hosting what we call the D line dash, the great commuter race, where we're pitting a driver, a cyclist, and a transit rider. And they're going to start in Beverly Hills and race their way to downtown Los Angeles. The odds are the bicyclist is going to get, halfway there before the train arrives and before the driver gets out of the parking garage. And then the train, assuming everything goes well, the train rider should win, because it's really fast. The ability of the bicyclist to cut through LA traffic keeps them ahead of the driver, who will be on their tail. Nobody knows who's going to win, but you can follow Streets Blog social media. This week we're doing short videos introducing the 3 racers. They're all awesome women doing work for multimodal mobility in Los Angeles. And so I think it's a fun story, and I hope people will enjoy it.
I think it's a great story, and we will certainly follow it here on Bike Talk. Do the driver and the bike rider have to follow the rules of the road? And what time of day are they doing the race? Because that might play into who wins also.
We're going to be departing at 9 a.m. from Beverly Hills, heading east into downtown LA. And had we done it at 4 p.m. or something, probably the traffic would be worse for the driver, but we figure there'll be some traffic. There probably won't be not so crazy traffic.
Okay. And how about following traffic laws?
Absolutely. We're not encouraging anybody to ever break the law. My advice to the driver and to the cyclist and even to the transit rider is to commute the way you typically commute. All drivers, all cyclists, and even occasional transit riders will break rules and occasionally break laws. And we're not going to be out dinging the driver if they go 2 miles an hour over the speed limit or go through a yellow light or something. But we are encouraging them to take the typical safety precautions that people use getting through the city every day.
Perfect. Well, Lindsay, I think this is a big step forward for Los Angeles because, as you know, Larchmont and other neighborhoods around Los Angeles were designed around the rail car system. And this is kind of, making everything old is new again, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
And not many cities are building subways anymore.
Yeah, it's a huge step for LA. I think we should be really proud.
Yeah. Well, Joe Linton of Streets Blog LA, thanks for designing the D-Line Dash. Thanks for all your work and helping the D-Line come to fruition. And thanks for coming on Bike Talk.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to talk about the brand new, the D. People are saying ride the D. So
ride the D.
Go for it.
Yeah, I guess we were going to get into that in a second. Ride the D. What does that mean exactly?
Can only mean the subway, right? No, just kidding. It's actually been fun that I think it has, it's a sexual double entendre, of course, if in case anyone listening that hasn't gotten it yet. And there's been a lot of sort of fun of like the D is getting longer and you can go deep with the D and stuff like that. So there's a lot of sort of fun that people are having it there. Metro did a T-shirt that says ride the D, and Metro's like making money off T-shirt sales because it keeps selling out and stuff. So, and I think it's sort of captured some public imagination in a way that an agency that might be too straight-laced and too narrow wouldn't embrace. And Metro's been great on it. I'm sure they were worried, but I think it has helped the D-line opening capture more public imagination, sort of. It's something quirky that you heard of. Seth Meyers talked about it on his TV show, and I don't think he would have done it had there not been a sexual entendre, related to the subway opening anyway. So it's exciting. It was crowded, standing room only on trains on opening day, and we'll see how it's doing on a cloudy Tuesday, midday. So thanks for having me.
And you can take your bike on the subway.
Yeah, absolutely. You can bring your bike for free, you don't have to pay anything extra. Bicycling has what they call point-to-point connectivity. For me, it's super valuable to be able to get across town on the train and then do that last mile, take my bike on the train with me, do that last mile, 2 miles on bike. So it makes for a fast trip and
perfect.
Doesn't get me all sweaty, but it gets me a little bit of exercise. So anyway, yeah, it's great to combine bike and train and bike and bus.
Perfect. Joe, thanks.
Thank you.
That was Joe Linton talking about the D-Line Dash. We will keep you abreast of who wins.
I'm Stacy with this week's news. Last week, Colorado Governor Jared Polis signed a key transportation safety bill into law, making it illegal to stop, stand, or park a vehicle in a bike lane. Breaking this law is considered a Class B traffic infraction, which can result in a fine up to $100. Another important piece of the law will require the use of crash rather than accident when referring to traffic collisions, addressing a long-standing complaint from the walking and biking community that the use of the term accident downplays the severity of a collision, displays blame away from the driver of a vehicle who may have caused the crash. And in the Denver suburb of Parker, Colorado, their police department is rolling out a new tool as part of their crackdown on illegal e-bike and dirt bike use. Parker police say this is becoming a real problem among teenagers, with many riders being unlicensed and uninsured, causing harm to themselves, others, and damage to parks, trails, and private property. The online reporting link gives a breakdown of the differences in powered bikes and the law. E-bikes with pedal assist and max speed of 20 miles per hour are allowed on trails. Anything that can travel above 20 miles per hour is not allowed on sidewalks, trails, or in parks. Riders can't be younger than 16, and anyone under 18 must wear a helmet. Electric motorcycles and e-dirt bikes are prohibited on all public property. From Jason Marks of KCRA in Sacramento, Amazon has announced it will no longer sell e-bikes in California that exceed state speed limits. Last month, California Attorney General Rob Bonta issued a consumer alert with guidelines for e-bike safety and speed. The guidelines stated that pedal-assisted e-bikes cannot exceed 28 miles per hour, and throttle-assisted e-bikes are limited to 20 miles per hour. Any e-bikes exceeding those speeds are classified as mopeds or motorcycles and require additional licensing and age restrictions. An Amazon search revealed numerous e-bikes advertised with speeds over 40 miles per hour. It now requires all e-bikes sold by third-party sellers to comply with state laws, regulations, and Amazon policies.
So, Taylor, you're about to leave on a very big trip.
We've been talking about this a lot on the show, and I've got a lot of advice from people like Josh Bowden at Adventure Cycling and other people. And today we have a great interview with a couple that are going to ride their bike across Africa. I feel like such a loser. I'm just riding across North America.
I think these are both incredibly impressive. So what is your itinerary?
I'm taking the train and going up to San Francisco to be with my daughters for a couple of days. And then I'm going to ride from my daughters to my dad's. I'll ride north along the coast of California into Oregon, across Idaho, across Montana, across North Dakota, across Minnesota, across Wisconsin, to the Mackinac Bridge in Michigan. I think it's going to take me about 2 months, and I'm getting my Surly Midnight Special all set up with my Ortlieb bags and trying to figure out what I'm going to need, because I will need some cold weather things, but then I'll need some warm weather, clothes also. So I'm doing layers, lots of layers.
Now, are you going to camp?
I'm going to camp part of the way, and I'm going to stay in hotels part of the way, and I'm going to do warm showers, which is an organization of cycling enthusiasts that open their home to other people that are touring by bike so that you can actually get a warm shower a couple of nights and
Oh,
meet some
wow.
people along the way. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is sort of meeting the people along the way, hearing their stories, and seeing why they love biking and why they open their home to people who bike.
Can I just say, bike people are the best?
I totally agree. Along those lines, you've got something for us about bike people helping people.
Yeah, so there's this amazing organization called Samaritan Scout, SamaritanScout.org, and Good Samaritan Scout meaning looking for. And if you want to volunteer in the world of bikes, whether you want to help out at Ciclavia or do outreach about a bike lane or help with bike repair for kids or giving bikes out to kids, you can go on the website and actually put in your city. So it's not stuff that's online volunteering. It's like
Right.
real person and find all the bike related volunteer opportunities in your community.
What's the website?
It's called Samaritan Scout. So Good Samaritan, right? A good
Right.
Samaritan, like a do-gooder, and then Scout, like looking for something, like you're scouting.
Right.
And it just scrapes the internet for every possible volunteer, in-person volunteer opportunity in your community. So that rather than having to Google and find bike groups and then go to their website, it's a one-stop shop for volunteering, but you can put in bicycles. I mean, you
Great.
can put in other stuff too, but
Great. And how'd you find out about them?
so a dear friend of mine actually figured out the technology and started a nonprofit, and she asked me to sit on her board, and I love this organization.
And who does the social media?
My daughter does.
Lindsay, that sounds amazing. We have Josh Bowden with us, who's going to give me some last minute advice for my trip. So let's go to Josh Bowden. I'm getting ready to start my trip on the 14th. I'm going to leave from San Francisco on the morning of the 16th from the Marina Green from the Phil's coffee truck at 8 o'clock on Saturday, the 16th. But I thought I could use some last minute encouragement and some last minute information from Josh Bowden of Adventure Cycling. Josh, welcome back to Bike Talk. But before we get started, you got to tell me about the trip you're going to do first.
Yeah, we're both going on big trips at the same time.
Yeah.
So not on the 16th, but the 17th, I'm going to start my drive from Missoula all the way down to Flagstaff, Arizona, because I'm doing a 3-week raft trip down the Grand Canyon on the Colorado River.
Wow, that's going to be so great. I remember as a kid visiting there and seeing the movie of the people who first traversed the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon, and it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I believe that was John Wesley Powell, I believe. I have a
Very
book
good.
about that actually. So I'm hoping to read that. I've been pretty busy, so I haven't quite got to read that book yet, but it would be good. Yeah, probably gnarly back then. These days, it's relatively pretty safe. So it'll be a nice, relaxing trip.
Right, but you've got some pretty good people with you, you said. There's some river guides going with you that are part of the group and things like that, right?
Yes, we've got about 15 people in the group. The majority of them are either been river people their whole lives or they've been river guides themselves. We have one person who actually was a guide on Grand Canyon river trips last summer. So we've
Oh,
got some pretty good people on the trip.
it sounds like a great trip. But I am hoping to be able to meet you in person when I get to Missoula, Montana in the early middle part of June. Will you be back there then?
I'll be back. Yeah, you'll catch me between two different trips. You'll catch me right in that window.
You are living the life in the mountains, man.
Oh, it's great up here. It's why you live in Montana.
Yeah,
Mountains everywhere. You have good access.
totally. Well, I think I'm all set for my trip. I've got my camping gear all set and set it up and all that kind of stuff. And I think I have my bike all set with panniers. And I went to a mechanic the other day and kind of worked with the mechanic as he made sure the bike was all set. The thing I am struggling with a little bit is the navigation and the routes. I don't want to have my phone on all the time to be told in 3/4 of a mile, turn right. I want to be able
Mhm.
to sort of enjoy the trip a little bit more. And I'm also worried about traffic, about there being some stretches of the route that are pretty heavily trafficked. I wonder what kind of advice you might give me now as to sort of how to handle both the navigation and if I get into a situation that is uncomfortable with automobile traffic.
Mm-hmm. So for navigation, I understand you're using a lot of adventure cycling routes, which
Right.
does make it pretty easy. Now all of our routes are hosted on Riders GPS, which is like North America's most popular biking GPS like navigation app. So everything's integrated into there. It makes it pretty simple. You
Right.
go on our website, you purchase or get the route. Some of them are free, some of them you still have to buy, and then there's a process of how to go to Router GPS and get those routes. Like you have, you were showing me earlier the Transamerica sections that you're going to be doing.
Right.
So the way to think of it is Router GPS is basically kind of like Google Maps, where you have the information you want, you've plugged in your route, so you're able to then just like hit go. And you can have the screen up so you can see a visual of everything you're writing, or you can set it to just give audio cues to do that thing like Google Maps does, like in 1 mile, take right onto this, road. And you can just turn your screen off and kind of have your phone somewhere you can hear it, and then it will give you those audio cues to do that.
Good. So I don't have to drain the battery.
Yeah, you don't have to drain it. And really the best way to use Router GPS is you can just make you have to have an account, so you can make a free account to use it. But the best experience, you do have to pay for a subscription, but that lets you download the routes onto your phone and turn your phone onto airplane mode, which saves tons of battery.
Okay.
And then you can navigate that direction. Otherwise, your phone is on, it's, checking Wi-Fi, it's doing all the things your phone's doing in the background, and that can really drain the battery. So I always recommend, if you're going to go on a bike trip, just pay for the subscription. You can do monthly, so you can have it for just a couple months when you need it, and get it downloaded so you save battery.
Okay, well that's a good idea. I'm one of those guys who always gets the free, plan, just because I'm a little cheap, Scotch Irish and all.
Router GPS is like the #1 navigation app for biking in the US. So if you're obviously an avid biker, you will get your money's worth back.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, $60 is doable. I can handle that. What do I do if I get on a stretch? Because I actually, so many people have done this that there's lots of videos out there. And I've really enjoyed watching some of the videos of other people who have done these kinds of rides. And one of them was talking about the Lewis and Clark Trail, which I will be on for part of the time through Montana and into North Dakota. And they were talking about there's just a ton of traffic. So what do I do if I get on a stretch where I'm really uncomfortable? I want to add really quick, Abe Downey from Calfee Design sent me a really cool thing called the Space Bar, which is this LED bar that goes out from my seat about 3 feet and lights up so that cars can see me way in advance and know that they have to give me some space. And I think I will definitely use that in certain areas where there is lots of traffic. But what do I do when I'm on a road that just sucks?
Unfortunately, I think that's just part of the bike touring experience, especially on some of these major roads. I'm thinking most like on the Pacific Coast section. Absolutely beautiful ride. I would definitely recommend anyone to do it. With the caveat, you have to understand there is a decent bit of traffic. It's beautiful for biking. It's also beautiful for driving your car.
Right.
So you're already onto the track of what I would say, which is blinking lights are definitely the #1 thing to keep you seen. Definitely something that flashes. A lot of the bike lights have strange patterns to them, so it's not just super steady. It'll kind of do 3 quick ones and a long one or something like that. It really catches people's eyes. It's really, really good. So running those all the time, at least on the rear. If I'm feeling sketched out, I'll do the front as well. Most headlights for bikes have flashing as well.
Right.
You can wear reflective or neon clothing. Frankly, it is a little dorky, but it is very safe to wear it. I personally go with you've seen these maybe safety triangles. They're these neon reflective, super bright. So, even if you'll have your light going, which will flash, and then you have this big neon sign. And then something like you mentioned, this big LED bar just to get people's attention will be really good. And it helps give that real visual indicator of like how much space are these cars going to have to give you. I'll say when you're on through Montana and doing Lewis and Clark, the issue usually there is not tons of traffic, but it is like the speed at which they're going. You can drive real fast in Montana because there's a lot of space. So you'll probably get a couple buzzes, and it'll probably be a little unnerving, but if you combine all those things, wearing reflective clothing, the safety triangle, the flashing lights, like you just do everything you can to give people as much heads up as possible.
Right. Great. Well, that sounds good. Any last I don't know if you heard that. That was my dog.
Yeah, I
Any
saw a little
last
tail go by in the background.
and I got to tell you, that's one of the things I'm really worried about. I remember when we first started talking that you said, you have to have a reason of why you're doing the trip, and you have to be in that place in your life where you can sort of take a moment for yourself to do a trip like this. And I must say, those are the two things that I have been struggling with, leaving my wife and my dog. And my children are already not grown all the way, but already out of the house. So I don't
Hmm.
see them on a day-to-day basis anyways. But that is the thing I'm sort of struggling with. And I'm glad I have a good reason to do the trip, because I think that's what will help me get through the trip.
Hmm. It can be pretty tough for sure to find that reason. And that's why I push it as like the first thing we talked about, because it is really the hardest part, like buying the gear, doing the fitness, getting in shape. Like that's actually pretty easy, but
Yeah, and
solidifying
fun.
that
Yeah.
why, yeah, it's also very fun. And thinking about the why is difficult. I think everyone will have a very different take and experience on it, but my kind of take is I actually find it easier to go away on a trip like this when I know I have something to come back to. So you're saying, family, wife, dog, all these things. And definitely there'll be times where you miss it, but in my personal life, when I feel like I didn't have much of a community or I didn't really have anything going on, I felt pretty aimless. I actually kind of felt it hard to be out there because I did kind of be like, why? But when I know it's like, oh, I have people back at home that are cheering me on and they want to see me finish this thing and I want to go back to them and tell them all the great things I did and how awesome it was, like that actually kind of fuels me a little bit. I'm like an endurance athlete. I do big races. So in those races,
Right.
that's what motivates me is like, man, I don't want to go back and tell them, I gave up if I was feeling okay. Like I want to tell them I pushed through and they encourage me and everything.
Great.
That's like something I think about. I
Right.
always weigh the pros and cons of like, yeah, I miss the things and I want to go back home or I want to stop right now. And that would feel nice, right? That would probably be pretty fun. But then I would have to remember like, oh, I gave up on this trip or I gave up on this
Right.
race or I dropped out or whatever you want to say. So it's kind of like long-term game, short-term game. Like, oh,
Right.
okay, today sucks. It's raining. I'm on
Yeah.
the road. Cars are buzzing me. Man, this sucks. But if I can push through this for a little bit, then what a great memory. I've proven to myself that I can do tough things, and that's going to pay off long, long term. Versus if you give in now, you'll feel good for a couple of days, and 2 weeks later, you might be like, "Dang, man, I gave up."
And this was the opportunity to do it. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was the opportunity to do it, because, and hey, everyone has their limits. Everyone has to make their own choices. I've certainly done trips where I was like, hey, I'm going to be gone for 2 months. And I came home 2 weeks later because being out there, you learn stuff and that's
Right.
totally okay. But always try to go out there with that reason and purpose. And try to push through, try to do that big thing you're committing
Right.
to. It could be
That's
awesome.
great advice. Yeah. Thank you very much. And I heard someone say recently, there's two kinds of fun right in the moment and
Hmm.
fun sort of looking back on it. Like maybe it's hard in the moment, but looking
Yes.
back on it, it's fun. And I think this is the second type of fun. And
Yeah.
certainly the first type of fun, some of the times going downhill or,
Right.
something like that. You
It's
know,
usually a lot of type one fun is what we call it, where it's like fun right now. Then there's some type two fun, which is usually a growth moment. What we're trying to avoid is type three, where it's not fun now. When you think about it later, it still sucks. So let's avoid that.
That's great. Well, Josh, any last minute pieces of advice or anything like that you want to give either me or anybody who's getting ready to do a trip like this?
Two things are coming to mind. One is usually, at least personally, and a number of my friends do this, when the trip is coming up, we tend to kind of soothe ourselves by making last minute purchases. Try to avoid that. Don't drop 100 or hundreds of dollars right before the trip because you need that last little piece of gear. You've done
Yeah,
all this work and prep. You've got everything. You've thought it through. You'll be fine. And hey, since you're going through mostly populated areas, if you need something, you can just order it online and ship it to you ahead of time. But I always feel that need of like, oh, I need to buy this one thing or the next thing, and then you blew a bunch of money. So
that's
always
great
something to be
advice.
aware of. Yeah,
Yeah.
that anxiety comes out, and that's pretty common. But the other thing is, I think it's really great. You're saying, oh, I need this affirmation. I'm kind of looking for people to prop me up. I think that's part of the experience. Like a degree of anxiety and a degree of nervousness, I think is good. If it's overwhelming, that's very different. Maybe something a therapist should handle. But if there's a degree of anxiety about it, you go lean on your community, like we were saying, when times are hard, maybe call the wife and, ask her like, hey, send me a picture of our dog doing something funny. Like that'll give me the motivation. But you lean on that community. That's why I find it easier to go away when I have something to come back to.
That's great.
It's not just like I finished the trip and then what am I doing? I'm just kind of
Right.
floating around out here. Like, no, I get to go back and be with my community and be with my family and, do those things again.
Boy, that's a great way to put it, Josh. Thank you so much. And thanks again for all of the times you have come on the show to talk about the different aspects of planning for a trip like this. And I really encourage anyone listening, if you haven't heard all of Josh's interviews, go back and just type in Josh Bowden at biketalk.org and all of his interviews will come up. Everything from, do you have a reason to getting in shape for the trip? And you've really been a big help. And I look forward to seeing the adventure cycling home base in Missoula, Montana, and hopefully meeting you in person one of these days.
That'd be great. We'll go out to lunch. We got some good spots here around town.
Perfect. Josh Bowden, Adventure Cycling. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Taylor.
Lindsay, you want to hear about the couple that's going to ride their bikes across Africa?
I am so excited for this.
They're riding their bikes around the world, continent at a time. And this year they're doing Africa.
Can I tell you that my brother, who's a cyclist, you know him, he biked from Germany all the way to China.
Wow.
Through like Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. I don't know how he did this.
Wow,
I think
what an
these trips
amazing
are
trip.
life-changing. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear about this trip.
Taylor's about to take a bike tour from his daughters in San Francisco to his dad in Michigan. His dad's 101.
Oh, wow.
And we thought it would be a great time to talk to other people who do bike tours. And this is PL and Kristen, and you're doing the biggest tour of all, right? And you have been?
We're just combining a whole bunch after year to circumnavigate the world at some point with our mileage.
Wow. How many
Not
miles is that
intentionally.
going to be?
This is our fourth of 5 rides, so one each year. And this one's Africa, so about 7,000 kilometers.
Yeah, well,
this one?
6,000 or 7,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
Wow. And where are you all now?
We just live outside of Vancouver, British Columbia.
Great.
But I'm from, where in Michigan is your dad?
He's in East Lansing?
Okay, yeah, I grew up just north of Detroit in Windsor.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Drove that I-75, yeah, I drove the I-75 hundreds of times heading up to Sault Ste. Marie where I was born and all through like Mackinac, like just love that area. Yeah.
I'm going to go through Mackinac on my way down to my dad's house. But tell us, where have you been on your world trips?
So this is 4. So we did North America. We did the Great Divide mountain bike route from Banff down to Antelope Wells. And then year 2 was Europe, which was the top of Norway to the tip of Portugal.
On the European Divide route.
Yeah. So off-road. We're off-road trail, like bike packing off-road. And then we just got back from doing South America. Where we started in Colombia and finished in Ushuaia at the tip, Fin del Mundo. We went through Tierra del Fuego, like all Patagonia at the bottom.
Right.
It is the southernmost city in the world.
Yeah.
We're less than 1,000 kilometers from Antarctica.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, let me ask you, with everything that's going on in the world now, do you feel safe traveling in some of these places? Do you speak Spanish or Swahili or how do you navigate some of this?
Yeah, I would say I thought I spoke Spanish until we got down there. And so, yeah, that would be, I think, one of the biggest regrets for me and us was just not really knowing the language, because then you cannot really get to know people the way that you want to. And I would say, yes, we feel incredibly safe. It was funny. We got stranded in a town, like a city in Colombia, and we were walking around, not even thinking anything about it. We had some locals there that kind of took us in were our buddies for the week. And when we got down to Patagonia and near Ushuaia, we met some people, and they said, "You were there? That's like the most dangerous city in Colombia." And we were like, we felt fine. So there's a little bit of that, what you don't know is bliss.
Right. Yeah.
But the people, we have said over and over and over again that there are way more wonderful, beautiful, great people in the world than there are bad. And when you're on a bike, you just tend to meet most of them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to in my trip. I'm not nearly as experienced as you all are. I've done a few, week-long, 2-week-long trips, but never anything like what I'm getting ready to do. And I'm looking forward to exactly that, meeting the people and talking to them and all of that. Are you all camping all the time, most of the time?
Yeah.
Some of the time?
We try and get a hotel at least a couple of times a week so that we get like a warm shower and we can wash our clothes, and we try and make sure that we have access to like a restaurant or a food supply at least every day and a half. So it's very rare, regardless of where you ride your bike, that you're without access to food or water for more than like 48 hours, unless you go extremely remote, like up in the mountains, like
Right.
Peru. But usually the world's pretty civil in terms of access to food and water wherever you need it. So you're never too far away if you really need it.
Right, right.
And it's depending, food is a very loose term, right? Like you might get a bowl of rice, but there's usually you can even have enough supply for 4 days. It's just water is more of an issue than food, I would say.
Right.
But we've been, it's worked out fine. And we're learning as we go. Like we learn more each trip, oh, let's do this next time, or, oh, that didn't work. Like we're experienced, but there are people that do this for 7 years in a row around the world. So I think there's different levels for sure, but you learn every day, you figure something out.
And what's your route in Africa? Where are you starting? And along those lines, how precise is your plan? Are you planned every night of where your trip is going to go, or are you a little bit more easy come, easy go, and let's stop here or let's push on?
Well, you know Mike Tyson's famous quote, right? Like everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. It's a little bit like that. We have a pretty good idea of our route, but we have no idea where we're going to stop, because you don't know how fast you're going to go, how slow you're going to go, mechanical breakdowns, road terrains, all those kind of things. So we have our route nailed down, probably 90% of it. In terms of the countries, we know what visas we need, we know what currencies we need, all those kind of things, what eSIM cards we need.
Right.
But beyond that, you got to wing it. Like to plan the details for every day, it would take you months.
Right.
Putting in on Google Maps and that kind of stuff. And even then, you can't plan for the unknown. So it's too stressful knowing everything.
Right. And are you using any kind of like Ride with GPS or Komoot or any of those kinds of programs?
I do my route planning with Ride with GPS, and then I kind of cross-reference that with a couple of other apps. One's called Osmond, and the other one's called Komoot. And then you can look at kind of what's in the area, what routes do people travel the most, because you don't want to go on a route that's no one ever ridden before. And if you're unsure, when you get there, you just ask the locals and you take a detour. Like when you're doing 6,000 kilometers on a trip, to do an extra 40 or 50 on a detour because the road you want isn't what you expected, it's like it's a rounding error.
Right. And it's part of the adventure, I guess, too, right?
Yeah, correct.
We also use iOverlander, which is the 4x4, like the off-road vehicle one.
Right.
And that one helps. But
for camping.
Yeah, for camping, like finding wild camping spots. It's really, it just, it's trickier. Like you can't overlay your route, whereas Osmond you can. Like Osmond might work great for you, although you're in North America, in the US, so it's easier. But you can put your route on it, and so then it helps you that way. Whereas iOverlander, you kind of have to go back and forth. But it's really helpful when you're in different parts of the world, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know about either of those two, so that's really good to know about. I knew about Komoot and adventure cycling and Ride with GPS.
iOverlander is great.
iOverlander. Okay.
Well, and because you're in North America, the American Cycling Association maps, like they're pretty great.
Okay.
So that one, I think you'll have a lot of help using that.
One of the things we talk a lot about on our show is traffic and cars and how much they are, scary for cyclists. How is the traffic in on your trips, and are you worried about that? And is that ever a problem, or is it not because you're off road much of the time?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, we come from a road background, so cars for us is, I mean, we don't, you try to avoid them, but they don't scare us per se. And I think, yeah, there's been a few, we are quite remote for a lot of our riding. But I know that moving into Africa and even some parts of South America, yeah, like they aren't, the roads could be quite narrow or the terrain. And so because we're on our bikes are big, mountain bike tire kind of wheels. If you get pushed off a bit, it's a little easier to save than, your road bike kind of thing. But for Africa, yeah, we've been told the cars can be a little trickier, and you've got the cars at your back. I mean, there's part of me, we were just like, oh, let's ride facing traffic. But
that was her suggestion, not mine.
Well, other people said that too. So I'm like, oh, so I think depending on where you're at, but when you're on the bike, like our bikes are just so solid that when you're used to riding down forest service roads with potholes and big rocks, like just getting nudged over a bit, I don't feel as worried. But Africa, I think, will present itself with a little bit different. Oh, and I guess I would say in Patagonia, the winds were quite crazy. So we would get blown in, like you were just blown into the middle of the road at times. So you were kind of hoping there was no car behind you at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
What kind of bikes are you all riding?
We're riding the Celsa Cutthroat.
Oh, okay. I know that bike. Sure.
Yeah, with 2.4-inch tires.
Yeah. Wow. Do you have travel insurance?
100%. Yeah, we actually used it. My wife got a bacterial infection in South America and got hospitalized, and we were very fortunate to have insurance. Now, South America, the medical system there is very cost effective, so it wasn't like it was a break even for us, but 100% we get travel insurance. You just never know. If you do get it, then the last thing we do is be stuck in a country where they have your Visa card on file and you don't know what's costing you.
Right. What's your next trip after Africa? And also, when do you leave for Africa?
We leave for Africa first week of June, and then we'll be there for about 3 months, and we're visiting our charity along the way. So we're spending a week with our charity that we're supporting. And then
what's your charity?
It's called Hope for Kora. It's located just outside of Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And
oh, wow.
It's a community of a couple of 100,000 people that live off of a garbage dump.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then our last continent's Asia. And we don't know exactly what that will look like, but we've been told to hit most of the Stan countries. And I don't think I need to ride across all of Mongolia. I think we'll probably hit some of it and then travel ahead. Like, we don't want to ride more than 3 to 4 months at a time. Like, we've got kids in university. Like, we don't want to miss out on most of our life here.
Right. Well, you're really lucky that you have a partner to do it with. My wife is scared because of cars in North America. But I think she would like to do some of these off-road trips that you all are experiencing. It just sounds really, really wonderful. Do you run into many other world cyclists, people that are out touring from long stretches? And do you ever run into them twice?
Never twice.
Oh, no, that's not true. Yes, there are people that have started riding years ago and they packed up their life, or they were young and so they didn't own anything, and they are just riding around the world. And a lot of them are, like I said, young. They didn't, they're not married, they're single and like that. And a lot of them, are making films or things like that, or just living on their bikes. In Germany, or in European Divide Trail, we ran into, what's his name? The German guy. Dennis. We had, like, in our European Divide Trail, we ran into people a few times on that route. And that was pretty cool. And we've stayed connected through Instagram kind of thing.
Right.
But nobody that we've met sort of in one continent and again somewhere else. Not that I can think of right now, but yeah. A lot of people doing crazy things on bikes for sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
How are you documenting your travels? Are you taking lots of footage, or are you journaling, or do you plan to do anything with documents?
So yes to the first part. I have a GoPro that's on my bike that we use all the time. We used to take a drone, but not anymore. It just takes up too much space and battery charging time. But no, so we have a YouTube channel. So all of our rides are fully, we have a volunteer team that does our social media, does our video editing, does our websites. So it's all documented on YouTube. And we've been told that we should definitely write a book or do some type of a TED Talk with what we're doing. Because, I mean, the ultimate goal for us is, like, we're over halfway to our fundraising goal of raising $2.5 million for 5 charities. And in these 3 rides, we've raised just over $1.25 Canadian dollars. $250,000 Canadian dollars. So we've got, we're just over halfway our fundraising goals and 2 continents left to ride.
Wow, that's really amazing. What's your YouTube channel so we can pass that on to our listeners?
It's Cycle, then the number 5 to survive.
Yes.
Cycle 5 to survive.
Yeah. And that's everything. Like, that's our Instagram, our Facebook, our website.com. And there's all kinds of things. You can subscribe to a newsletter, and then you'd get, once we're on the road, every time a new video comes out, you get an update with the video. And so, yeah, we're trying to grow our fan base on
Sure, of course, yeah.
That's a big push for us, is just getting the followers so that our reach is there. We self-fund everything, so it's 100% give to our charity. So, getting a sponsor is nice. It just helps us out a little bit with our gear that we, how much we spend every year doing this. And so how much do you spend every year doing this? You don't want to know.
Well, so every year,
I actually do.
I would say between the 2 bikes, we probably spend about $1,500 per bike replacing everything, basically, but the shifters, derailleurs, and the frame, and the seat, of course.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for giving me advice, because I'm getting ready to start. And thanks for coming on Bike Talk and telling us about your adventures. Well, one more time, it's Cycle 5 to survive.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful trip in Africa.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy.
And I totally will. I'm really looking forward to it. Now it makes me want to, explore other parts of this planet,
Well, yeah, check out our videos and you get a pretty good glimpse of what it's like. But I think if you're looking forward to meeting the people in the US, I think, if that draws you, then I would highly recommend thinking about doing some other parts of the world. I think we're more united than we are different. And when you're on a bike, it's just slow moving through places is really, really spectacular.
Yeah, I always think that the bike goes at the speed of exploration. And thanks very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us.
Next up is Lauren and Howard talking about the bike bus in Northampton, Massachusetts.
I'm Lauren Kaskey.
And I'm Howard Moore.
We are 2 people from the Bridge Street School community in Northampton, Massachusetts. We have organized a bike bus from my neighborhood to the school for Massachusetts Walk, Bike, and Roll Day on May 6th. Howard and I met at a different community organizing event. We see each other as I am sprinting past him most mornings to get my child to school on time. You probably approached me thinking that I do things.
Yeah. At some point, I learned that you had a son who was riding a bicycle and might want to ride a bike to school.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why then when I saw Bike Week in Northampton, and I was saying what kind of events could happen, I said, that's one of the kind of events that could happen. So then I ran into Lauren on her rushed way into school one morning and brought the subject up, and she said, sure, text me, and I think that's how it started.
Yeah, and so I pretty much recently moved back to my hometown of Northampton, and having been away for 25 years or so, I'd gotten to be a real kind of cyclist and bike commuter, and I live so close to the bike path. But I have a 4-year-old and 7-year-old, and when I have them, I'm the only adult. And I just haven't been able to find a safe path to the bike path for us to ride. And so when Howard came to me with this idea, I thought it was a great idea. I would love to have a safe and joyful ride to school with my kids. And I also think it's a really nice way to pull some more community voices in, to be thinking about, how do we really think about this bike path so it's safe for anyone to use and get on the whole way.
Yeah, that's a big piece of it. And then, so this is sort of a demonstration ride in the sense that it's a one-time event. And it both demonstrates sort of the possibility of having a fairly quick, easy route to school, and also some of the difficulties of using that route to get to school. So there's some intersections and some busy streets to cross.
So I got in touch with our city councilor of the ward and the mayor and the city planner. In my other life, I do a lot of organizing of politicians. So got in touch with them because what I would love to see is having some of them really just ride the route and experience what my neighbors and I experience on a pretty consistent basis when we're just trying to enjoy the beautiful bike path that we have out here in Western Mass.
There's also a possibility the PE teacher.
Oh, is he coming?
He says he's planning to, although, things can happen.
We might have a
true celebrity.
We have a true celebrity in our midst.
Famous for being a PE teacher? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are elementary school kids. So the idea that their PE teacher, who my child at least absolutely adores, actually exists outside of school and would join us to do something that kind of is not their normal way of working with the kids. I think my kids are just going to be beside themselves. Like, it's just like so exciting that a teacher is with us out of school. Can you believe it? It's going to be fun.
I think so.
Yeah, so you're going to do this for Walk, Bike, and Roll Day, May 6th. Could this happen every day, once a week, once a month?
Yeah, don't you think the dream would be that people realize that it's actually convenient, fun, healthy, all the good things. And so it just becomes incorporated into a part of daily life where it becomes maybe the default, as opposed to now where it's a major effort to get it to happen in terms of the default is going in a car.
My dream as a mother of these young children is that there's enough visibility from this bike bus. Listen, I'd love it to be a weekly thing. I'm not able to plan it weekly because did you hear how old my kids are? But I think it would be really nice if there was a little bit more infrastructure that made it safer for us to get to the bike path. So that's a pie in the sky dream, but that's a little bit how my brain works. But for now, I think it's creating a little bit more comfort so that my neighbors and I might even casually just say, hey, do you want to bike to school tomorrow? And feel a little bit safer with a group.
This is how we start, I guess. And maybe one day it'll be possible for people using the most efficient form of transportation in the universe to get to school with their kids.
I hope so. It's only a little bit over a mile away, right?
Yeah, it's almost exactly a mile.
From my house, yeah.
From your house, yeah.
It's just not safe.
And not just that, but also unfamiliar.
Right.
Like when you picture how would you get there, it's like you're not familiar with it in the same way you are with how you would get there in a car.
Yeah, it's interesting because there are just a few turns that if the little ones got out of my eyesight or went too fast and didn't hear me, ask them to stop, maybe they were getting excited, it would be really catastrophic, right? There's probably about 50 to 100 yards that makes it so I don't feel safe riding with my kids to school. I imagined when I was moving to Northampton that we would do that on a pretty regular basis, but we're just not quite there yet.
Well, you're in touch with the city, so maybe you can make things happen, Lauren.
That's the goal. That I work with cities for work, so I feel a little bit like this is a piece of sand in an oyster right now, while also just trying to recognize my own limited capacity and awake time, but that's the goal. We're in touch with the city.
Realistically, we know that the timeline for infrastructure projects is long.
Right.
Like decades as opposed to years. But you got to start somewhere. And again, that's sort of what this is. Everything about this is the start of something, familiarizing families and kids with the route that's possible, familiarizing the people in the city government with the opportunities and the needs of the route, hopefully getting something started.
Yeah.
Lauren and Howard, have a good time. You're doing the trial route right now?
Yes. We're right now behind Progression Brewing because it was a lovely quiet spot that occurred at the moment of 4:30.
I'd love to hear how it went.
Yeah, we'll see you around. We'll give you a report next time you can join us.
Thanks, Lauren and Howard.
Yeah,
Thank you. Have a good one.
Well, that was Lauren and Howard with their bike bus for Bike Month, because May is Bike Month. And Lindsay, I think that's the show.
Thanks for having me on. It's good to be back. And
it was really good to have you on again, and great to hear your voice. And Nick will be back next week, of course, and we'll be back to it. We want to thank Joe Linton and Streets Blog LA, and I'm putting all my money on the biker for the D-Line Dash. Lindsay, I know that you're going to back the D-Line, and maybe Joe's going to take the car, but I doubt it. We also want to thank Josh Bowden and for everything that Adventure Cycling and Josh have done for Bike Talk and to help me get ready for my trip. And we want to thank Pial and Christian and wish them the best of luck on their journey across Africa. It really sounds like an amazing trip. I hope we can check in with them either during their trip or at least at the end and get some pictures and some updates on how it went. And also Lauren and Howard for the bike bus in Massachusetts. Getting kids to school on a bike bus is a great way to start the day. Of course, we always want to thank our regulars, Julie Richard, Josh Hagland, Kevin Burton, Lindsay Sturman, Stacy Randecker, and Amy Ziering. You know, normally I do the bike quote, but do you have a bike quote, Lindsay?
I think bike people are the best people.
That's a good thing to end on. Thanks a lot, Lindsay.
See ya. Have a great trip.
Ride safe.
This episode of Bike Talk is sponsored by the law offices of Pocras and De Los Reyes, with offices in Los Angeles and Bakersfield and serving all of Southern California.
Bike Talk is a project of CRSP and the Los Angeles Eco-Village Institute. And that was Bike Talk. If you have a story, a tip, or a topic, head over to biketalk.org and send us a message. Talk again next week.
Get on your bike, sit on the seat, put your feet on the pedal, and run all around, run all around. Get on your bike, sit on the seat, put your feet on the pedal, and run all around, run all around. Get that car out of my way, I wanna ride my bike today. Keep me fit, get me there, I won't go stinking up the alley behind the daily grind. Let your mind unwind, if it's life, pretend to life, better get yourself a bike. Get yourself a bike. Oh, 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 get yourself a bike.